Do you like explosions? What about raging like a barbarian and beating someone up with your fist? Do you like being super mobile? Well, then I have the perfect monk video for you. Today's video is all about the Raging Monk, a fun multi-class guide that was suggested in the comments below. So let's break it down. When it comes to playing the Raging Monk, race literally doesn't matter for the most part, as long as you pick something that doesn't have a spell, because you can't use spells while raging. But really, with how versatile the monk is, any race can be played at a high level and be perfectly fine. I went half orcs just because I like having relentless endurance for the extra survivability. If you want a little bit more movement, however, go with wood elf. The extra movement you get does stack with the extra movement from the monk class, so you will be super mobile. Once you decide your race, I went with half orc. It's time for you to actually start to level up. At level 1, you are going to choose barbarian. They gain unarmored defense, which adds constitution modifier to their AC. Monks had the same thing. If you take a look at the monk, they have it as well, but they use their wisdom modifier. We are not going to have high enough wisdom for this to actually make a good effect, and this does not stack. So you want this one here because this will give you a ton more AC compared to the monk. So that's why we're going with barbarian first. But barbarian also is going to gain some other things as well. You will gain proficiency bonuses that I really like. Specifically your saving throws. Your saving throws are going to be constitution and strength. And with the way this build plays out, you're really going to want those, in my opinion, over the ones monk offers. When it comes to skill proficiencies here, you want athletics at least level 5. Definitely have that right there. With the way the monk plays, there are some skills that will do damage and shove at the same time. So having the ability to make that improved is going to be just a benefit to yourself. I'm a big fan of perception. If you don't like perception, you can put it in anything else. When it comes to your stat spread, this is exactly what you're going to do. Note you do have low dexterity, so you will not have any initiative bonuses until later on. However, we are going to end up fixing that once we get a couple feats. Your wisdom is important because this is actually going to affect some of your damage once you level up a little bit more. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But this is what I want you to do for level 1. Okay, starting at character level 2, you are already going to start multiclassing. I want you to start putting points in the monk because we're going to level up monk for a little bit here. As soon as you get 1 point in the monk, you gain flurry of blows, which is really nice because this is going to give you extra damage, but this will really start to skyrocket later on. And we'll talk about the other class features in a minute. First, we're going to talk about leveling up. So at monk level 2, you are level 3. You gain unarmored movement, which is going to give you additional movement speed, and this will continue to grow as you put more points in the monk class, which is really nice. And you gain additional ki. Every time you level up in monk, you gain more ki, giving you access to more monk abilities to use in combat. Alright, you are character level 4, and you are now monk level 3. This is really great because you get to pick a subclass, and you are going with Way of the Open Hand. This gives you flurry of blows, and this attack is going to give you amazing damage because now your flurry of blows is modified. So you have flurry of blows push, which not only will you do damage, but you have the possibility of pushing the target away, and this is going to be affected by your actual modifier, and it's nice that we put the proficiency in it that we talked about earlier. You have stagger, which is really great because you can stagger them, making them unable to take reactions. So if you need to get away, you could stagger and then run away without opportunity attacks. And you have flurry of blows topple. This has a chance to make the target go prone. This one is really great to open with because it's a bonus action. All 3 of these are bonus actions. But when the target is prone, you gain advantage on your attack rolls, which is really huge. Okay, you are character level 5. and you're going to be monk level 4. You gain the ability slow fall, which is nice if you were to ever be pushed off an edge or something like that. In combat, you can use your reaction to lower the damage that you would take from fall damage. But the reason why this is important because this is when you get your first feat. And we are going to be choosing the good old Tavern Brawler. We get a modifier to strength, so we are at strength 18 now, giving us +4 for our strength modifier. But Tavern Brawler is huge. When you make an unarmed attack, use an improvised weapon, or throw something, your strength modifier is added twice to the damage and attack rolls. So now, you are character level 5, and no matter what, you will have +8 chance to hit with your unarmed attacks, and they will do +8 damage. It's really powerful. Okay, you are now level 6. You are a monk level 5, you finally gain extra attack, and this is really freaking good because this in combo with your flurry of blows for your bonus action, it's fantastic. It's really, really fun. The build's gonna really start to come together at one more level. Okay, level 6 monk right here is really strong. Not only will your fist weapons count as magic and actually bypass resistances, you have a toggle ability. These 3 features you can see, you can toggle your fist weapon to either do additional necrotic damage, psychic damage, or radiant damage, and it is affected by your wisdom modifier. In our case with 14 wisdom it'd be +2. You also gain a bonus skill that you can use once per long rest that will heal you, give you 50% of your key points back, and give you 2 bonus actions for the next 3 turns. It is really, really strong. And during those 3 turns, you gain 1 key back every turn. Okay, you are now character level 8 and you have some options. You can go back to putting points into Barbarian, or you can continue down the monk route. If you continue putting points into monk, you want to go to monk level 9 and then go back to Barbarian. My suggestion, however, is to go back to Barbarian so you can get the subclass for that. You gain Danger Sense, which is nice because you'll have advantage on dexterity saving throws against traps, spells, and surfaces. You'll gain Reckless Attack, so if you do attack with a monk weapon, you can use this as a reaction, because if you were to normally miss, this will pop up basically stating, would you like to use Reckless Attack, because the other attack's going to miss. This does not affect fist weapons though, so keep that in mind. Okay, your next level, I am going to say go back to putting points into Barbarian because this will allow you to get another subclass. If you do continue to put points into Monk, you are going to want to put 3 more points into Monk to get the Monk level 9, and I'd rather have the second subclass first, personally. The subclass I prefer is actually going to be Berserker or Wildheart depending on the situation and your actual game style. If you prefer actually just having extra throws because you can use Enraged Throw to throw enemies or items, this is the route you want to go if you enjoy that gameplay. But if you're all about using your fist and you don't care about throwing things in combat, go Wildheart. So with Wildheart, you get to choose an animal aspect. The default is going to be bear. This is going to be the route you want to go if you're all about your fist. If you don't use any monk weapons whatsoever, Bearheart is the only one you want to go because this is the only one that will allow you to use their ability, which is a heal, without a weapon. So it's great though with the Bearheart, if you read, you will actually gain resistances to all damage except psychic. Normally when you rage, you gain +2 damage to your melee attacks and unarmed attacks with melee weapons as well, but you also gain resistances to physical damage. Well, as the bear, it's all damage, so magic damage as well, except psychic. So that's really big. If you go eagle, this is going to give you a thing called Diving Strike. So foes have disadvantage on opportunity attacks against you, and you can use dash as a bonus action, which is really, really awesome because we talked about earlier how we get 2 bonus actions if we use that other ability. Well, now you could dash away and most likely not get hit from an opportunity attack, or if you need to really dash just to get up to somebody because they're super far, you'll have a second bonus action, so you could easily attack. But what makes it even better is it also gives you this cool skill, Diving Strike. You literally get to leap down on someone, won't take any fall damage whatsoever, and do a lot of damage and make them go prone. It's really, really fun, but it does require a weapon, so if you are using only fists, you can't use that. The Elk is pretty cool because this is going to give you Primal Stampede, which we'll talk about in a second, but your movement speed is going to be increased by 4.5 meters when enraged. Well, with how much movement you already have, that's insane. Plus you'll have the Primal Stampede ability. This is really great because this is going to give you the ability to charge at your enemy, do some damage with your weapon, and have a chance to knock them prone. It's great because it's up to 9 meters, so it can hit all 9 people at once if you happen to have 9 enemies in a line like that. The Tiger Heart is really great because this increases your jump distance by 4.5 meters, which is huge because you can already jump super far. But you also gain Tiger's Bloodlust. Again, requires a melee weapon, but you can lash out and hit 3 enemies at one time and make them bleed. It's really cool. And the final one, if you want to be a little bit more supportive to your team, you can have the Wolf Heart, which is really useful. So when you rage, you get to actually howl like a wolf. And this is going to be great because allies have advantage on melee attack rolls against enemies within 2 meters of you. So essentially, if you're fighting a boss and you're up on the boss doing your damage, everyone else will also have advantage on their melee attack rolls against that enemy. It's really big. And what's even cool is you get Inciting Howl, an ability you can use to actually increase your allies' movement by 3 meters. Personally, I like going Bearheart because I like using my fists a lot, but if I do find some weapons later on, which you will, there will be weapons in late Act 2 and Act 3 that are worth using, you would want to move off of Bearheart. Note, if you would rather have the extra feat rather than going 9 levels into Monk, you might as well go Barbarian level 4 now to get the extra feat right away. If you prefer to go 9 levels into Monk to get the extra skills they gain, then do it that path. Okay, so we're going to go back to Monk now. At level 7 Monk, you gain Evasion, which is nice because spells that make you take a Dex saving throw, now if you pass the throw, you will take 0 damage, and if you fail it, you only take half damage, which is really nice. And you get Stillness of Mind, so if you were ever charmed or frightened, you automatically cast that ability and you remove the condition. Okay, Monk level 8 is when you get your second feat. So this is when you can choose if you would like to have ability improvement to increase one of your abilities. The reason we're not going to go strength to 20 is because there's an item you can buy early Act 2 that will give you +2 strength. So we're not going to do that route. Or, in my opinion, one that's really great is going to be Alert, because this is going to give you +5 bonus to your initiative. And you can't be surprised. Really, it's the +5 to initiative that we want because our dex is only at 10. Okay, so now you are level 9. As a monk, you have 3 points in a barbarian, and you're level 12. You have a choice to make here. Do you want to get advanced unarmored movement, meaning difficult terrain doesn't slow you down, and you can jump an additional 6 meters while not wearing any armor or a shield, which is huge. You can jump super far. If you do that, you also gain these key punches that like do an explosion, and you can actually attack multiple people and then use your key blast to explode it all so they all take extra force damage. It's really fun to use. However, that being said, if you tend to find yourself not liking this ability here, go back to Barbarian and get another feat. So the choice is up to you. Whatever you want to do, if you want the extra feat, go ahead and take that route. If you would rather have the extra abilities to play around with, you can do that as well. It's whatever you want to do, but these are a really big AoE, and if you do have multiple people with this, you can explode multiple people at once, which is really fun. Let's actually go ahead and get some explosions on people. What do you guys think? That guy's... they're probably gonna die. Let's go ahead and do it on him. Now, if he doesn't die somehow, this will be really great. He died, unfortunately. That's okay. We're gonna go ahead and explode, though, because I want to show that even though he died, take a look at these explosions. Yeah, it's a lot of damage, and even though they're dead because I hit him previously, it still exploded, which is really nice, which is why I personally like the key resonation punch abilities. So, I don't have a weapon equipped, and I have my unarmed strike. Doesn't seem that impressive, right? Well, go to your passive, and I want you to pick whichever one of these you want. Doesn't matter, whichever one fits the situation is up to you. Go ahead and go with it. We'll use Manifestation as Soul for the example. So now if you go back to your character and go to do your actual unarmed strike, you can see it will do additional 1d4 plus 2 radiant damage, which is really cool. I'm not going to cause the auto crit from Luck of the Far Realms, not yet. So you can see that did, in the combat log, you have your attack roll, and then you have your damage roll. So it does show that you have that there. And that's with the regular attack, so it makes sense. But what if we did Flurry of Blows? So let's go ahead and do it. And we're going to go and knock her down. I'm going to go ahead and make this crit as well. So now take a look at the damage. You have your critical from your first hit, shows 1d20 plus 4 for your proficiency, and it does have the Tavern Brawler in there with your strength modifier. And then you have your other attack, which was the second one, also shows that the Tavern Brawler was affected. So even though they didn't actually show in the tooltip, it does happen in combat, and it doesn't show in the tooltip, but the radiant damage also was applied as well, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the other skills that you have. You have Patient Defense, so you can use this if you want attack rolls to have disadvantage, and you yourself to have advantage on dexterity saving throws. So if you know you're going to be in the action, you have enemies surrounded you, and you're not going to kill them all, this would be a really good option to use. That way, more than likely they'll miss. Step of the Wind Disengage is nice because it does exactly what it sounds like. Jump takes no bonus action, and you basically can retreat to safety. It's a great way to get out. And then you have Step of the Wind Dash, so you're basically dashing with it. It's really nice. So this one uses disengage while you use it. This one will use dash while you use it. But this will also make your little jump not cost a bonus action or anything, which is really cool. So I'm getting attacked by a missile here. Because you have the ability to deflect missiles as a actual monk, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It reduces the damage plus your dex modifier. We don't have any dex modifications here, so it's only going to be our monk level added to that 1d10. But because it did 0 damage, I can now throw it back at him. Okay, let's go over items you can get early Act 1 that I think are going to be useful to you. Let's start off with this staff. This staff here is going to give you +1 bonus to unarmed attack rolls and damage. And while you're not wearing any armor, they receive +2 bonus to saving throws. This is really useful because you're not going to be wearing armor for the most part, so why not use it? And this is where you can find it. Bracers of Defense. This is great because you gain +2 AC when you're not wearing armor or holding a shield. Just free AC for your class. This is where you can find it. The Ring of Flinging is great because if you go the route for Berserker and you like throwing enemies or just throwing weapons and stuff at the enemies, this is going to give you bonus damage on top of the already added bonus damage you would normally have. And you can actually get it from a vendor early in Emerald Grove.